This is the state of Michigan versus Jeremiah Hibbler, file 26-44492-FY, set for sentencing today. I see your client with you, Mr. Blumberg. Thank you.
Yep.
We had a plea back on June 11th to domestic violence second offense, no contest plea, and was set today for sentencing purposes. I have received, in preparation for that, a letter from Abigail Brink, typewritten, a page and a half. A letter from Peter Hector, an outpatient therapist, dated June the 10th, and a letter from Kyle Yohe, looks like Mr. Hibbler's employer, dated June 23rd of 2026. Ms. Brucker, have you received that correspondence?
I have.
All right.
Can I make one comment, Judge?
Absolutely.
The letter from Ms. Brink appears to be more of a witness statement describing the events versus like a character statement. So I don't know how informational it is to the court or how appropriate it is for the court to review that for purposes of sentencing, since we've already taken a plea as to the event and we're at sentencing right now.
And I understand that. There's a paragraph in it. I'm taking it as a sentencing document as opposed to a plea or adjudication document. So for whatever it's worth under those circumstances. Mr. Blumberg, was there anything else that you wanted me to consider before we get to the allocution portion of things?
No, Judge. I think the information that you've been provided hopefully will be somewhat helpful for you in coming up with an appropriate resolution in terms of a disposition of this matter.
All right. Mr. Hibbler, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to allow each of the attorneys an opportunity to give me their view of what I should do at sentencing. After you've heard both of them, I'm going to give you an opportunity to present me any other information that you want me to know before I decide what to do. Ms. Brucker, is there any victim or other victim statement that I need to be aware of?
Your Honor, Kimberly Stilson is here. She is mother of the victims. I believe she wishes to make a verbal statement. Is that correct, Ms. Stilson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Stilson, this is your opportunity to do that. Please go ahead.
Your Honor, my name's Kimberly. I'm the mother of 3 boys shared with Mr. Hibbler. Can you hear me, sir? Well,
I can. Yes, go ahead.
okay. Connor, Noah, and Xander are the 3 boys we share. Today, I speak not only as their mother, but as a person who has had to pick up the pieces of their fear, their pain, and their trauma after what was supposed to be a safe visit with their father turned into something deeply violent and life-altering. When sending your children with anyone, your heart pauses, praying they will be fine and return.
Take your time.
And return as they were. I trusted that my children would be safe during their time with their father, and instead they came back hurt and terrified. What happened to them was not discipline. It was not a moment of poor judgment. It was a violent assault that left them terrified and caused profound physical and emotional harm. As a mother, there is nothing more devastating than seeing your children afraid of someone who's supposed to protect them. Since this incident, my boys are not the same. They are afraid. They struggle with fear, anxiety, emotional distress that no child should have to carry, especially against their father.
This is one of the most emotional moments of the hearing. The children's mother isn't just asking for punishment, she's asking the court for protection. Her statement paints a picture of lasting emotional trauma, and now the judge has to balance those concerns against the defendant's request for a second chance. From this point on, every word matters.
They hesitate, they look over their shoulder at stores. They no longer feel safe. And my eldest son won't let me go anywhere without him with me. Their sense of trust in adults and family in this world has been deeply changed and damaged. My eldest son, Connor, who was slammed to the ground that day by Mr. Hibbler for stepping between him and his brother. And then Mr. Hibbler placed his knee on our son's face, holding him in place on the concrete. My son now complains of back and neck pain daily. At 6'2", Connor will already suffer from some back pain with his height. Connor, being the oldest, was forced to defend and protect his brothers as he was taught by the very man he was protecting them from. This defendant's actions only took moments to commit, but my children will spend years to recover from them. I ask the court to consider that reality when determining sentencing. Every day, my boys will live with the consequences of their actions. While the abuse itself was brief, the fear, trauma, and emotional scars it created will follow them long after this courtroom is empty and everyone goes home. I need to point something out very specific, Your Honor. During the assault on our sons, Noah was slammed onto the concrete, striking his head. His father knew Noah has previously had a serious head injury and resulted in serious seizures. Knowing Noah's medical history makes this even more frightening. His father knew of Noah's prior head injury and seizure history, yet he still chose to slam him onto the concrete as a punishment for an argument that happened in school. As a mother, I cannot put into words the terror of wondering whether your child will suffer from another brain injury, another seizure, or worse. That decision showed a complete disregard for Noah's safety and for the potential of devastating consequences of his actions. For years, I have tried to protect my children within a system that has not been able to hold him accountable, Your Honor. Despite ongoing concerns and past incidents, nothing has been strong enough to stop him until now, when our children have become the next victims. I pray they are his last. This is not the first time he's physically assaulted our sons in a way that no child should ever be punished. However, it is the first time he's being accountable for it in a court of law. I am here to ask you with everything in me as a mother that it be the last. Your Honor, this is not just about punishment. This is about protection. My children deserve to grow up without fear of being hurt by their own father. They deserve to feel safe, to heal, and to have a future that does not define them by trauma, as every child and every person deserves. I'm asking the court to recognize the pattern of violence, the escalation, and the very real danger he poses not only to my children, but to others. His action has shown a consistent disregard for safety and well-being to those closest to him. Even now today, he shows no remorse for what he did to his children or the pain he's caused. His statement to CPS that's documented was, "The kids aren't welcome in my home. I want nothing to do with them." That's not a father who made a mistake. I'm asking for serious consequences that reflect the severity of what he has done and the ongoing danger he continues to pose. The trauma my children carry may last for years. The consequences he faces should reflect the lasting consequences of his actions. I am asking for protection that ensures my children are never placed in harm's way like this again. As a mother, it is my job to protect them. Today, I am asking the court to help me do that. Your Honor, you have a power to make a big change in our lives, one where we never have to live in fear again. I'm asking you as a mother and as a victim myself, please help show what is right and what is wrong, but most importantly, please make this the last time my children or anyone has to suffer at his hands. I'm extremely sorry about all of this. I thank you for your time.
Ma'am, could you remind me again of the ages of your three boys?
16, 15, and 13.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I appreciate the statement, Ms. Stilson. I have heard everything that you said, and I will take it very seriously in deciding what to do in this case. Ms. Bruker, any other allocution that you wish to do?
Just the only thing I would add, Judge, is I believe she does wish the no contact order to continue. And if the court does order any programming in addition to whatever the court orders, I'd ask for anger management.
Thank you. Mr. Blumberg, your allocution, please.
Thank you, Judge. I mean, I want to be very thoughtful and considerate in regard to the comments that I make before the court. The reason that Ms. Brink has provided the court with a written statement is because she was a witness to what really went on that day. And so when I make the comments, I'm not trying to diminish the seriousness of the incident that occurred, but this was an incident that was precipitated by the conduct of two teenage children, at least the same size, if not larger than their father, who were acting totally out of control, inappropriately. Now, when I make that statement, again, I don't mean it to justify the actions of their father. But this wasn't a situation where Mr. Hibbler initiated an aggressive means to discipline his children. They hit him, they pushed him against the wall, and he acted in a way that perhaps I would have not acted or you would have not acted. But again, these children are not children. They are teenagers of a very large proportion. And while it's regrettable that this occurred, the representations made by the mother in this case, she wasn't there. She didn't know what went on and what her children did to precipitate this. So again, I hope the court doesn't understand my comments to diminish the seriousness of this incident. The children were out of control. My client did not perhaps acted appropriately. He never punched them. He tried to secure them from stop threatening him and Abigail Brink, who was there witnessing this whole.
Who's his girlfriend?
Here.
Sir, respectfully, you
Excuse
are
me,
going
ma'am,
off
Nelson.
of his girlfriend.
Mr. Blumberg, this is my court. I will deal with issues. Ms. Stilson, I gave you an opportunity to speak. I'm giving the same opportunity to Mr. Blumberg. This is not a chance. This is not a time for you to put things into your perspective. All right. I simply have to give Mr. Blumberg his opportunity, and I'm going to do that. Mr. Blumberg, please continue.
Thank you, Judge. So again, in terms of the factual predicate to this whole incident, it was poor judgment on my client's behalf in the manner in which he attempted to diffuse an already serious situation perpetrated by these teenage children, one of whom was suspended from school, one who's been in trouble all the time. Again, my client was wrong in the manner in which he tried to handle the situation. I think it's important that the therapist report at least sheds some light on the professional view of my client and his willingness to continue in counseling. He is a valued member of the company for which he works. Mr. Yohe's letter is one that speaks about how important he is to the company, my client's work ethic, and the support that he provides for his children. So I ask the court to simply take all of these things into consideration when you impose the sentence that you deem to be appropriate. If the court is to impose a period of incarceration, we would ask that my client be allowed to serve that time on weekends so he can maintain his employment, so he can continue to support his children, continue his counseling, and do those things that he's trying to do to straighten his life. He's had troubles in the past, but he is attempting to become a productive member of our community, and we'd ask the court.
Now the judge is explaining exactly what influences a sentencing decision. It's not only about what happened in this single incident. The court is also looking at the defendant's criminal history, his efforts in counseling, the impact on the victims, and whether the community can be protected moving forward. This is where the final outcome really starts to take shape.
To allow him an opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Mr. Hibbler, you also have the right to address me. This is your opportunity to do that, sir.
There's no doubt I've had my screw ups in the past. I'm not always the easiest to deal with. I am trying to turn my life around. I've been trying to do myself good by, I bought a house, got a good job, 8 to 5 every day. It was not my intention to hurt anybody. Honestly, everything happened so fast. I should have walked away as soon as I got pushed, but I didn't. Can't turn back. There's no easy button in life. So here we are today. I regret going forward with anything that I did that day. I'm deeply sorry.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hibbler. As I indicated previously, I have read through the submissions from Mr. Hibbler, including a letter from his therapist, Mr. Hector, who indicates that Mr. Hibbler is accepting responsibility and taking the matters in counseling seriously. The therapist does note that probably would be a good idea that the no contact order should remain in place, which tells me that there's lots of work to do to reestablish a good connection between Mr. Hibbler and his children. The letter from Kyle Yohe, the owner of Yohe Services, who employs Mr. Hibbler, has nothing but good things to say about Mr. Hibbler. And the letter from Abigail Brink is really just a counter viewpoint to the plea that was taken, the no contest plea that was taken by the court on the domestic violence matter. I have heard the mother in this case, and I've heard the dad in this case. Who I've not heard is from the kids, and the mom is the closest I've gotten to that, indicating that they were seriously emotionally and physically affected by the behavior in this case. And I think the reasonable inference of that is that this has been an ongoing kind of incident. Kids grow up, for the most part, modeling what they see. Mr. Hibbler's behavior in the past has included such things as felony level criminal charges and convictions, attempted CSC 3 in September of 2012, attempted resisting obstructing the police in September of 2014, domestic violence in November of 2020, and now this new domestic violence involving the kids. And I think the kids have seen that and been influenced by all of that. That is not to say that Mr. Hibbler hasn't been trying lately. I think his letter from his counselor has indicated that he is making a serious effort now. But in sentencing, my job is to look at rehabilitation, protection of the community, whether or not Mr. Hibbler needs punishment, and all of those things kind of go together. And in doing that, I have to look at the whole picture, not just this particular incident, but his past behavior and what is necessary to protect the community, including his family, in the future. This is not an easy case because there are difficulties on both sides. The kids' behavior is troubling, but they're not here today, and they're not here today for a reason. They're not at fault. The adults in the room are the ones who have to take responsibility. Even if the kids were 100% wrong, and I'm not finding that they were, but even if they were, the dad has to be the one to bite the bullet and do things in a manner that does not bring him under the auspices of the law. And that's where we're at. He's pled no contest. He's accepted that statement of facts that he did wrong to the kids. And I have to accept that as my premise, that he did wrong with the kids. And then I have to look at his history, both current and in the past, and decide what do I do with him from here forward. If this were a one-time incident where there were no history of criminal action, no history of violence in the past, it would be very different than what I'm going to do in this particular case. But I have to sentence him as a second offender under the domestic violence law. And I also have to sentence him as having prior felony level convictions. most of which involved violence or very serious actions towards other victims, this is an extension of that kind of case. So for all of those reasons, I'm going to impose the following sentence. I'm going to put him on probation for 12 months because I think he needs that monitoring. And there's going to be a $360 probation oversight fee for that. There's an automatic mandatory $75 crime victim fee, mandatory justice assessment of $50, court costs in the amount of $300, a fine of $150, and a local charge of $15. Let me add all that up for you. Total of $950. You can pay that over the course of probation. You may perform community service in lieu of some of those fines and costs at the discretion of the probation office. You must enroll in and successfully complete a treatment educational program. I'm going to put you in the men's batterers program because that's the closest thing I can think of to family counseling. You may also go or continue to go to your current counselor, but I think the domestic relationship issues need to be addressed. And I'll hear from in the future, if you don't think those both are necessary, I'll hear from your batterers counselor and your current counselor as to what they think might be more appropriate, but I'm going to start you there.
I think it's round three. I think it's round three.
What was it again, Your Honor?
The men's batterers program. In addition to that, there's to be no consumption or possession of alcohol or drugs, no entrance into a business where alcohol is served by the glass, drug and alcohol testing at the discretion of probation. You may not associate with Free Sons. Ma'am, could you give me the names of your children again? Connor, Noah,
Connor, Noah, and Xander, sir.
Noah. And how is Xander spelling his name?
Xander.
Thank you. There's to be no assaultive, abusive, intimidating, or threatening behavior. You're going to go to jail for 60 days. Under those circumstances, I don't believe that weekend jail would be appropriate. It's too much in and out for the jail. So I apologize ahead of time if that interrupts your work schedule, but that's just the way it's got to be based on the circumstances of this case. You want to report, today is Thursday, do you want to report tomorrow or do you want to report on Saturday?
Judge, if given the opportunity, I think he needs to speak with his employer just to inform them as to what the sentence is and how that's going to impact on his employment. Would it be inappropriate for him to turn himself in on Monday?
Is there a need for an entire weekend?
Just to get his, affairs in order, bills paid.
Well, he's got tonight, Friday night. I could have in Saturday after Saturday at 6 p.m.
That would be great. That'd be fine.
And Saturday's the 27th. So report 6/27 at 6 p.m. Mr. Hibbler, just so that you're aware, I know that you're not going to be happy with this sentence, and I can appreciate that. But quite frankly, without that statement from your therapist, I probably would have put you in jail for 6 months. So I've given you credit for being on the right track. You need to stay there. Your kids need you, and the only way they're going to see the light of day and not repeat the sins of their father is for you to show them the way. So this needs to be the last time that you're in court, the last time that somebody has to think of whether or not they need to punish you. And you need to decide that you're going to live your life differently so that there's no issues like this that come up and bite.
In the end, the judge handed down a sentence that combined accountability with rehabilitation. Along with probation, counseling, strict no-contact conditions, and 60 days in jail, the court made it clear that this was meant to be a turning point, not just another punishment. The judge's final message was simple: break the cycle, rebuild trust, and don't come back to court again. If you enjoyed this courtroom breakdown, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more real courtroom cases and legal analysis.